All right, I heard you say that.
Gosh, we're live, man.
Heck yeah, I think we got it fixed.
Shit, yeah. Well, I'm glad I got this webcam today.
Heck yeah, saved your life.
Yeah, it did. Okay, man. Here we go. All right, I'm sitting here with Matt from Afterdusk. What's up, man?
Nothing much, dude. Just chilling, making music like usual.
Yeah, I know the feeling. All right, well, man, I got you on because I played on my very first episode. I played "Stare at the Sun," which I think, man, dude, I think that's my favorite track y'all got.
Hell yeah,
That
dude. Thanks for
that
listening.
shit, man, that shit slams so hard, dude. I'm so proud of you guys, honestly,
Yeah,
because
we've
the
come a
the
long
music's
way.
incredible.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate that.
Um, in my live chat here on Perturb Radio, I was playing kind of soft, I kind of like the goth rock and stuff,
Right.
and then all of a sudden, I think I played like Dead Flowers or something by Demon Hunter, and then here comes After Dusk, and everybody's like, oh shit, it just turned up.
Dead Flowers is definitely one of like top 5 favorite Demon Hunter songs for sure.
Absolutely, dude. And the funniest thing about Demon Hunter is I would not know about Demon Hunter if it wasn't for you, actually.
Isn't that crazy?
Dude, do you remember all those times when we rode to work and I had that crappy little truck and I had my iPod?
Yes, I do remember. Like,
Yeah.
though I was asleep for half of it because, damn, that was entirely too early to be getting out of bed for that crappy job.
Man, that was 10 years ago.
That's insane.
That's insane. That was
Absolutely
like, that
insane.
was 10 years ago.
Time
But
flies, man.
yeah. Yeah, I think it's crazy because I was never, I'd never even heard of Demon Hunter until we started talking about bands and stuff. So,
Right. Well, I knew
I,
you were a big fan of him, so I was like, I got several bands that are of that type of genre that I figured you might like that I was already a pretty big fan of since I was a
yeah.
kid.
Yeah, man. Yeah, We're the Becoming is still in there for me.
Same, for sure. It's sad that that's all we'll probably ever get from him, but yeah, I still love that band to this day.
I know, man. Have you seen the lead singer? I guess he's going by Bones Owens now. He's doing country.
Yeah, it's like kind of folky music. I love it personally, and I don't listen to country music, but it's like folk rock. Some of it kind
Yeah,
of like Elvis, and some of it's a little bit Johnny Cash-ish, but
yeah.
I dig it. It's not the same thing, that's for sure, but it is. I do like it.
No, not at all. Well, I'll be honest. I hadn't given it a shot. I mean, I saw it and just my sensory overload went a little crazy. I was like, man, it's just not the same.
Yeah, I did that at first. Yeah, that was how, like, when I listened to his first little EP that he put out, I was like, it's not the same. It's not gonna be the same ever that that band was, but like, I do like his voice, and it was interesting to watch his career kind of unfold from there to doing what
Yeah,
he's doing now.
yeah. I just think it's cool, man, because Demon Hunter is in my top 5. I mean, it's in my top 5 favorite bands like ever, and I sold you a Demon Hunter ticket, so I'm excited, dude. We are
That's
gonna have
that is
we're
gonna
gonna
be
have fun that night.
that is gonna be great. I almost got to see them. They were supposed to come to Mobile with Red, like, this was like 7 or 8 years ago or something like that, and something happened with the tour, and they had to cancel the date, and they never came back. It was going to be at the Soul Kitchen, but
Yeah.
so I'm glad they're coming back to the area so I could finally get to see them live, because they
Yeah,
don't tour like that all that often.
no, I think they do that on purpose too.
They do. They put out music consistently, like every 2.5 years, but yeah, they only tour. They all got other stuff that they do. They're vocalists and artists, and he does
Yeah.
all kind of stuff.
I saw Demon Hunter at Louder Than Life in 2019, man, and it was insane.
That's awesome.
But anyway, dude, well let's not talk too much about any more of that, but let's talk about you, man. Let's talk about what you got going on. You've been in bands around town for a while. I
Yeah,
remember wasn't Falling for Insanity, wasn't that the first one? Or was it the second one or
it was the first and only one that I've ever been in since I started, and this band kind of evolved out of that band. So
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. Maybe like kind of a rebranding thing.
basically, we all the songs we released with that old band were written instrumentally by other people that are no longer part of the group. So
Yeah.
I was the only surviving member. So whenever I got this new group of guys to keep the band going, we all kind of agreed when we started writing music that we're like, we should just be a new band because I mean, none of these guys wrote any of that old stuff, and this
Right.
stuff is infinitely better. And we think that we could update everything to be, something we've always wanted to be a part of, and so that's what Afterdusk came out of.
Well, I think you made the right call on that, man.
Thanks, dude.
It's just incredible to see, like, you know, especially on the Spotify side and the YouTube side. I mean, dude, it is. I mean, I know you wake up every day and you're like, wow, man, like this is happening.
Yes,
It's pretty
definitely.
big. It's
We've
pretty intense.
Yeah, dude, every day I wake up and I just feel blessed to be a part of this and happy to be in a band with one of my best friends, but with such talented dudes because I couldn't do this on my own, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, dude, but this is something that spent many years making mistakes and just learning how this industry works, in a small band. And once we kind of got a relatively good hold on all of that, we're like, well, let's just start over because, it'll look like this new band who's got all of it together and people won't even know we've been
Right.
basically piddling in the dirt for however many years learning how all this works. And it's really cool to see people are digging the music.
Yeah. Well, you were spot on with that because I mean, all of a sudden here's After Dusk, and
Yeah.
it's like, holy crap, man.
Yeah, people
And
don't realize that when we announced our name in so basically debuted the existence of the band in October of last year. And then we put out one single with a music video and people were like, "Oh shoot, you put out a music video right after debuting. That's pretty cool. You already had something going." But we already
yeah,
had a whole album recorded and like 5 or 6 music videos recorded at that point, or we were about to finish up on a bunch of those right as soon as we debuted. So we already had all of this stuff. This entire year was planned out ahead of time.
man, isn't it so hard to have all that material and just have to sit on it?
It is, but this stuff looks so good that what you don't want to do is
Yeah.
like when you're that proud about something, you're like, I don't want to release this to an audience of nobody. Like I
Right.
want to release it, but I want to do it right so that as many people see it as possible. So like there's a music video that we'll be releasing in the next couple months that it's been finished for roughly a year. We actually shot it the same day that we shot the Become a Me video, but it just so happened that when we were laying our plans out and everything, we were like, okay, we definitely want this one to come out last.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I mean, the music's killer, dude. I mean, the quality of everything is spot on.
Thanks,
You know,
man. Appreciate you.
the one thing I've learned about this, man, is like, when we were younger and, there were bands blowing up everywhere and everybody was after that sound, y'all definitely have the sound that's firing off right now, but man, it's tough out there. I mean,
For sure, man.
oh,
Like,
dude, it kind of seems like there's a huge aspect of having to sell your soul to get ahead, man. I'm telling you,
yeah, I mean,
that is all that I hear from some of these people that I know.
yeah, I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that I could give to any like brand new band or a kid who's like just now learning and getting better, like number one, stick with it because you're only going to get better at your craft if you stick with it and you keep going. But number two is like, so I grew up in a time where like, when I was a kid, this is 10, 15 years ago, all my favorite bands were like Breaking Benjamin and 3 Days Grace and, and then on the heavier side, like Under Oath and everything. And everybody knew about the label that the bands were on. There
Yeah.
wasn't no such thing as an independent artist. You're like, what is that? Like, so as a kid, you're like, well, I'm going to write some songs and then someone's going to come scoop me up and, they're going to do all this stuff for me.
Oh,
Well,
dude.
that's not really how I'm not saying that that's not how it has worked in the past because it is, but it's not a good mindset for an aspiring musician to be in. It should be more like, I'm going to learn and do as much as I possibly can on my own to the fullest extent. Like, a lot of people see their favorite artists like, okay, that level of quality that they're pumping out is untouchable. I can't do that. So I'm just going to settle. That's a bad mindset. So what you got to do is you got to be willing to invest your time, your finances, and, you know, pretty much your everything into making sure that people can't tell the difference between your band and the big guys. And then you'll start seeing some success. But I think that's just a mindset that people go into it like, I can't do this to that degree on my own. And I just want to encourage people. And I was like, yeah, you can. You definitely can. Just strive for it and don't put any limits on yourself.
Oh, yeah. That's awesome to do. Hey, I was the same way when I was younger, man. You know, I'd get the Under Oath album, or I'd get the Atreyu album that had like the, you know, from Victory Records that had the DVDs and stuff. And I'm like, man,
Right.
you know, like, oh man, look at all these bands, you know. I mean, man, my big thing was, I mean, you know, you'd look at where they came from. Like Tooth and Nail was huge, man. And you're like, oh,
Right.
dude. It's like, oh, if I can only, you know, if I can get my music there. I mean, dude, that, you know, that's the mindset of you when you're, you know, 15,
Right.
16, 17. And the music industry in 10 years has changed so much. It doesn't even look the same anymore.
No, it's changed more in the past decade than it's been allowed to change for the entirety of its existence. And that's why as kids, like, there's a lot of teenagers or young adults that are like, they're just not sure how to go about this thing because all the bands that they grew up listening to, like you said, we've heard the stories, we've seen the interviews, and we've seen the behind the scenes stuff. So we're like, we know how they did it, but that's not an option for us anymore.
No.
Like, and the things that we can do wasn't an option for them. Like, those bands couldn't be like printing off their own merchandise and designing it on a computer and then uploading their music to online distributors. There wasn't any streaming. You couldn't produce your own record. Like, they didn't have any of that. They had to have that team. Now, it's important to have a team now, but it was impossible to do all this stuff on your own back then. It's just a different landscape now.
Yeah, well, you know, you have to make this music because you love it, man. You know, you put your time, your effort, and your money and all these things. You know, you sit down and sweat out all these songs because you love it. You know, you put a good product out there and you just see what happens. And
right,
you know, that's what I've done, and that's what y'all are doing, man. Y'all are killing it, man. It's
Thanks,
fucking
dude.
awesome to see, dude. I cannot wait for more music. I mean, and
Well, you won't
apparently,
have to wait very long.
yeah, well, that's good. Apparently the people that are checking out this show, man, they dig it too. So
That's awesome. I
I'm
appreciate that.
glad we could get this podcast rolling. You know, this little interview thing.
For sure.
But well, man, talk about, you know, plug some of your stuff, man. Talk about stress and espresso. Not a lot of people know about that.
Dress and espresso. Yeah, that's just like my little side project. I really like little indie acoustic stuff. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Goo Goo Dolls and This Wild Life and stuff like that. So I just put out every now and then, whenever I have the time and extra finances, I'll put out a little acoustic song. I've only got 2 right now, but yeah, for anyone interested, y'all can go to Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff, and just look up Stress and Espresso, and you'll find my little solo project there.
Sweet. Yeah, I mean, that's cool, dude, you know. It's cool
Yeah,
to, you know, you got a few sides to you, you know. It's
yeah,
not
I
all
like
just heavy
all
all the
kinds of
time.
music. Yeah, I like all kinds of music, so, you know, those are probably the 2 most prominent things that I like is, you know, the metal and then the more softer singer-songwriter stuff.
Yeah.
Which is kind of funny because of how how different those are. But
Well, they all go hand in hand, man. It's kind of
yeah,
like, the guy from City and Color, man, Alexis on Fire.
mm-hmm.
You know, he does, you know,
Yeah,
he's in Alexis on Fire, and then he's doing City and Color, and you're like, holy shit, man. I
right,
guess that would kind of be, you know, you would kind of fall there. You know, I mean, you got the heavy side and the lighter side.
right,
I
right.
cannot believe his name is escaping me right now. But
Yeah, it reminds me of Dashboard Confessional. He came from Further Seems Forever.
Oh yeah.
They're not like an extremely heavy band, but I mean they are more on the alternative rock.
Oh yeah, dude. They're
Post-hardcore.
definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird to me, man. A lot of people I know still have never heard of Further Seems Forever. But
It's really funny.
well, you gotta be a closeted emo to know about that.
That's true. That and have a lot. I meet people all the time where they've just been listening. Again, they knew from the labels and stuff, so they listened to like Tooth and Nail stuff, so they knew about Further Forever. And he got some popularity in like what was that the late '90s, early 2000s with that, and then but then when he got super popular doing Dashboard, now I meet people sometimes who are like, yeah, well I knew who he was before Dashboard was even a thing, and I'm like, you cool hipster, you.
Oh yeah, dude, Dashboard was fucking huge, man. And when I know, but when I was a kid, I thought that like I didn't think it was as big. Look at in retrospect, dude, that band was huge.
Yeah, for sure. Like, and it's funny that like somehow I didn't even realize until like a couple of years ago that Vindicated was on like the Spider-Man soundtrack, and that's one reason why it blew up. And I was like, oh, I've just known that song. I didn't even know it was on that soundtrack.
Yeah, I recall that. But I mean, I've had people that bring me, Aaron Gillespie, the Almost. I had people, they're like, yeah, man, there's this band called the Almost. I'm like, yeah.
Love
and I asked them if they ever heard of Under Oath, and they're like, oh yeah, man, that band sucks. I'm like, well,
that's ridiculous.
I know, man. Could you? Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm sure metalheads will be like, oh, dude, Under Oath does suck. Fuck you. But no, I'm all about the Under Oath.
Under Oath is definitely one of my favorite all-time bands. So those guys are awesome.
But the Almost definitely, Gillespie definitely pulls it back on the Almost for sure.
Right.
So that's all good stuff, man. You throw that on, and all of a sudden, I'm like a kid again.
Same.
Yeah.
If you could count the number of times that I've listened to Define the Great Line all the way through,
dude,
it would be in the hundreds of thousands probably. Like,
yeah, that's me with Only Chasing Safety.
Love that record too.
Oh.
All their records, they don't have a bad one. Like technically they have stuff before Spencer joined the band, but most people consider like Chasing Safety their first record.
Yeah.
Since Spencer, they haven't had a bad record at all. They've all been really good in their own way.
Yeah, the Changing of Times, man, it was kind of rough tracked. We'll just put it that way,
Right, but it's also in the late '90s, which Under Oath doesn't even feel like a '90s band, but they did technically start in the '90s, and so it's understandable they didn't have the same technology.
Yeah. Well, Spencer was the best thing to ever happen to Under Oath, and it also gave us a little bit of Maylene too. So.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm definitely down with that, dude. I never feel more hick as when I fucking slam on some Maylene, dude.
Maylene's great for sure.
All right, man. Well, you want to wrap this up or you want to keep going?
I mean, that's up to you, man. I got time.
All right. This is my first one, so I'm kind of trying to figure this out. I'm navigating as I go.
I feel you. That was like me with the technology before we got started. So.
Well, yeah, it's this microphone, man, that I had, but it's all good now.
Nice. Oh, I got to change the locations that way I don't disturb the fam.
Yeah. I hear you, man.
All right, I'm back.
All right.
So, what's going on with your band right now, man?
Not a lot, man. We're doing a lot of writing. We're doing a lot of writing back and forth. Lead singer, we're taking a short hiatus from shows and stuff,
Right.
Well, you play too many shows, you get too involved, it kind of, other aspects of your life take a toll quite a bit, but.
Right. We've had to turn down quite a few shows just because, like, right now we've got all this content coming out that's been finished, but we got to start working on what's coming up next. And so we've had to turn down some shows just because, if you got a million shows lined up, then you don't really have time to write or progress what you're going to do with the art next. You've just got to spend all your time on the show and practicing and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, and you don't want to, and that's the biggest thing I tell everybody is you don't want to oversaturate. I mean, you don't want to play the same place every week or every month or,
Right.
if you're playing in Pensacola, you don't want to play you don't want to play in Pensacola one week and then play there the next week or,
Right.
You want to keep it spaced out. I mean, because you'll have your people come out and you'll have new people always show up, but
you
too much of
people to start
too much of a good thing, man, becomes a bad thing when it comes to that.
Yeah, because people know, like, oh, they're playing. Well, I'll just catch them next time because they'll be
absolutely
back in weeks.
Yeah,
for sure. But I get it. Young bands, for like super young bands, I think that it's a good thing to play somewhat often, but only because you got to get that experience under your belt, and it's no better place to do it than at the your local bar.
Man, dude, I've played shows on the back of a trailer. I played shows at the park. I played shows at a bar laundromat. I mean, I played shows everywhere. I played a show last year up in North Alabama on the side of a mountain. Like we were on the side of a cliff and my drums were set up on a flatbed trailer. I'm like, dude. I mean this was with another band that I was kind of gigging with at the time, but yeah, man, play shows everywhere, dude. Hit the VFW halls when you're younger, but
right.
When you really have something special and you're really, you got the ball rolling, don't oversaturate too much.
Right. And you definitely want to, people got to make a living for themselves. So you want to make sure that whenever you go play a show, especially if you're going to be leaving your hometown and going a couple hours out, it's cool. We have like these analytics and stuff on like YouTube and Spotify so you can see what towns and cities actually have heard your music before and everything. So
yeah,
you can use the technology to your advantage to kind of not screw yourself financially whenever you're starting out.
Yeah, I've seen some of those analytics on Bands in Town. It's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, Bands in Town does it as well.
Yep. I think you have to get like 100 followers before it'll open up for you, but it's pretty cool.
Yep. Yeah, we got all the tools at our disposal these days. You just gotta learn how to use them, and there's a lot of kids you gotta learn how to be a little bit business savvy to make it work. Beyond just the playing the music and stuff, but we can do it, man.
Yeah, well, it's if you looked at it as a full-time job, you could definitely spend all day, every day pushing that. I mean, there's so many aspects, dude. Back in the day, it was just YouTube and MySpace. I mean, you hop from one to the other.
Right.
And there's so many there's apps that I haven't even heard of that our music is on, and I'm just like, what in the hell is that?
Right.
I mean, like, I didn't even know that Pandora was still a thing after Spotify and all this stuff, but it is, man. I mean.
And people use it.
They use it. Pandora. They use it, man. I've got a buddy, and he's like, that's all he uses is Pandora. And I'm like, well, okay.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I know we're on Pandora from our distributor. We really haven't looked at Pandora very much. Like looking, see what our numbers or anything are over there, but it's definitely a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild, man. I never, it always felt like a dream until it kind of got going. And it's like, man, this stuff's happening. And and when I joined the band I'm in now, I'm like, man, dude, I feel complete, kind of where I'm at because I'm really playing, my style, that kind of gothic, doomy, dark,
Yeah.
Oh, shit, dude.
For sure. Cause like there weren't a lot of like local bands that I knew of that were doing that. So when I heard that you got linked up with a band that kind of did the genre that you're into, I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, and now I'm doing this radio show right here, and it's all based around just dark, heavy music, and is sweet, dude.
That's
And
super sick.
and After Dusk is in the rotation on that, man. I'm happy about it.
But we appreciate your support, man, and spreading the music around. And like I said, we're gonna have some more new stuff for you here before too long. It's not gonna be long at all, actually.
Yeah. When is y'all's next show? Wasn't it at Vinyl, or did y'all already do that?
Our next show, I think technically our only show that's in the books right now, we're playing Frets for Pets, that festival.
Yeah.
Let's see. It is, trying to look up.
That's in Ocean Springs, isn't it?
Yeah, August 5th. I believe it's Ocean Springs, yeah. Yeah, Ocean Springs, yeah.
Yeah, I think that stage is outside, man. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, this will be our first outdoor show too, which is pretty wild because being a band that plays a genre as heavy as ours, you're not playing a lot of outdoor.
Yeah. Oh man,
So,
and you couldn't have picked a better time of the year to go outside and play a show.
that's true. I don't know how it is in Mississippi, but the air in Mobile, Alabama right now, it's like breathing chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
It's real hot.
Well, down there in Ocean Springs, you'll be right by the water, so hopefully you'll get a nice little breeze. If you're playing at night, maybe it'll be a little bit better, but
right.
I would definitely wouldn't have that last beer and maybe substitute it for water.
Right.
It's tough.
Yeah, I'm gonna be drinking strictly water. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're excited about that one.
Sweet. Well, on my end, it's just writing and recording, man. It's just doing piano, doing guitar, doing this and that, and kind of bouncing things back and forth and getting together. And which I don't know, man. To me, that's one of my favorite parts,
Right.
And that's stuff that nobody sees, but it's very involving.
Yeah, that's stuff we're trying to get better about documenting is some of like the behind the scenes in the studio stuff. But I don't know, man, like putting together a song is like a puzzle and you just never know where you're gonna find that puzzle piece. Like you might be, put half of it together in the studio with your dudes and then the other one, the main piece might come to you while you're in the shower by yourself. So
Yeah.
hard to keep up with the origins of all this stuff.
Yeah, I find lyrics hitting me like when I'm driving. For some reason, man, like all of a sudden I have to pull out my phone and put it in my notes. I don't know why, but when I'm driving, it's just stuff comes to me. It's kind of weird.
Mine'll happen sometimes when I'm trying to go to sleep. Like I'll lay down and then all of a sudden words pop in my head and I'm like, great. Well, now I got to get up and write it down because I will not remember that in the morning.
Yeah. Yeah, or like a riff comes to my head and I have to pull out my phone and go to like my little keyboard app and just figure it out and record it and save it. It's weird, dude.
Right. Right.
Look, man, we're coming up on 30 minutes here. So I want to give you a chance. I'm going to give you a chance to plug all your places, man. Let people know where they can find you. Let them know where they can find your merch, all your music and stuff.
All right. Well, for basically all things After Dusk, y'all can find us at afterduskmusic.com. There'll be a link there to our store if you're trying to get some merch. We got a lot of merch right now. We're on Apple Music, Spotify, just After Dusk, one word, no space. Find us on Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, all that stuff. So yeah, we're pretty much anywhere you might look for us.
Yeah. Sweet, dude. This is After Dusk from Mobile, Alabama, Matt. Dude, it was good to talk to you. I'm glad this somehow worked out. It was looking pretty sketchy.
Me too. I'm glad we figured it out, man. It was good talking to you.
Yeah, you too, man. I'll see you soon.
All right, man.
All right. I'll holler at you later, man.
Later.
All right. Bye.